favorite things to do, to get to sit in the comfort of my own space and be connected to a bunch of my fellow professionals like you guys. And I'm just happy to be listening, and I'm sure I'll make a comment or two along the way. And at the end, if there are questions, I'll certainly be here. So let's have a great webinar. Michelle.
Thanks, Sam. I just want to say welcome. Thank you all for attending and being here. We've changed the format a little bit to condense the time, so this will be anywhere between 30 to 35 minutes today or this afternoon, as well as we'll take some time after the webinar is completed to answer questions. But if you have any questions along the way, feel free to text them, and we will make sure that we can get answers for you. But we will take questions after the webinar is over. And this is also our first time doing it at this time slot, so we want to bring it. We got a little, took a little survey and found that this time of the day on Mondays really worked out better for everyone. So we're trying to meet everybody's needs and make changes as you guys suggest. So Gary I'm going to turn this over to Gary. He's going to walk through all the information with you for the next 30 minutes, and we will chat again at the end of the webinar. So Gary, it's all yours.
Thanks, Michelle. Go ahead, everyone, and type in questions. Any questions that you type will be answered by Michelle or Marty. Marty's also joined us, and I'll present the content. One of the things to remember when you get a webinar notice in the future, please make sure to register for the webinar, even if you're not able to attend, because everyone that is registered for the webinar will be emailed a link to view the webinar after the fact. So that's how you can guarantee that you'll get a copy of the webinar for your own use. We also want to remind you that this afternoon we also have a color webinar in a couple of hours. It begins at 3 o'clock Central Time, and we'll be spending an hour and a half working on specifically on color project information. So the BBN webinars are always focused on helping you to build your business. Our primary audience is stylists working in the salon, and certainly salon owners who are working to grow their business using Brocato. And we always want to share tools and tips that can help you expand what you're doing and take advantage of the promotional offers and things that we have available to you. So this month's webinar is called Brighten, Color, and Refresh. We're going to talk about some in-depth things that you can do with our Brocato Demi-color, because that's one of the key components of the promotions that have been available to you right now. First of all, in January and February, we want to review some of the promotions that have been offered. You still have 2 more weeks or 3 more weeks to work with our leader promotions. The leaders this year have been available in 2 different configurations, and it's interesting to watch the sales go through our distributors and hear the feedback from the salons. There are many salons who are very excited about having leader duos again, pre-packed in bag deals. The bag comes with 2 liters, 2 pumps, and also 2 empty travel size bottles that you can fill from the leader. We also have salons that are still very committed to the open stock leader concept and are doing very well sharing leaders in individual leaders so that they can prescribe specifically for their guests and help their guests get the correct combination of products that they're looking for. The focus for color in Jan-Feb has been a focus on demi-permanent color. You have the opportunity of purchasing 2 tubes of permanent color and getting 1 bottle of demi-color for free. We're going to talk about how to use that demi-color and different things you can do with it. And you also have the option of purchasing 6 bottles of demi-color and getting 1 10-ounce bottle of perfectly clear color diluter for free. Both of these have some great savings available to you, and as I said, there's still a few weeks left, so if you need to stock up on demi-color, or if you haven't used demi-color before, this is a great time to check into our demi-color and see how it fits into your salon and see if we can make it a part of your business and help you grow your color business. Brocato Demi-permanent color, Brocato Color Project Demi is designed as a standalone product or a product that's connected to and added to our permanent color system. It's perfect for brightening, coloring, and refreshing in all kinds of different areas. Demi-color is based on a premium micropigment. The micropigment is very, very small, so it penetrates well into the hair. It is ammonia-free, contains no ammonia, contains no monoethanolamine, which is a frequent alkalizer. The active ingredient we use is amino methylpropanol. The interesting thing about amino methylpropanol is as you study and look at different ingredients, it's been found that it is not a skin irritant, it doesn't have an odd fragrance, and it rinses thoroughly and cleanly from the hair. Another byproduct or another benefit of using AMP as an alkalizer in a demi-color is that it gives you zero lift. It's just not strong enough to create the alkalinity necessary to successfully lighten hair. So we're very confident saying that our demi-color system only deposits color in the hair. The color result lasts for 4 to 6 weeks. The zero lift component, because of the alkalizer, it just cannot lighten or can lift the hair. Demi-color is great for a number of different things within the salon. It's great for blending gray hair. People with lighter natural levels can do very, very well just by adding some tonality and some color to the white hair that's left behind, and that white hair then creates a natural highlight. It's non-progressive. Non-progressive means that regardless of if it's left upon the hair longer, regardless of how much longer it might take, it does not go darker. So it doesn't, it shouldn't concern you if it's on the hair for an extra 5 minutes. It doesn't continually get darker. It oxidizes and becomes what it becomes, but won't go darker than that. Demi-permanent color prevents damage. Because of the low alkalinity, the low pH, there's much less damage and stress to the fiber. It leaves the hair very detangled and very smooth. You can actually tell the difference if you've used other brands of demi-color when it comes to rinsing. Brocato Color Project Demi out of the hair is detangled, it's smooth, your fingers run right through it. And really what I believe the greatest benefit of our demi-color is that the demi-color matches the permanent color perfectly. Now what that means is, as we recommend people to use permanent color, our recommendation is that they use Brocato Color Project Permanent at the new growth and that they use demi-color on the ends. Demi-color on the ends will refresh the tonality and give you a burst or a pop of fresh color, but it won't change the tonality by increasing the porosity or creating an environment or a place where the hair color can fade more easily. So it's the very best way to care for hair in the long term. Permanent color at the new growth, demi-permanent color where additional tonality or color refreshing is needed. Now there's a number of successful ways to use demi-color. Actually, it's much more versatile than a permanent color system. The first one is that demi-color is the perfect choice in a brightening category to refresh and to create new excitement for a first-time guest who's very color shy. If you have someone come to the salon and say they've always been thinking about coloring their hair, but they're just not sure, Sometimes they're not sure about the tonality, they're not sure what people will think, they're not sure about possible damage, they're not sure about making a long-term commitment. Well, if you've got a guest that's shy like that, it's the perfect thing because demi-color fades completely out of the hair. It doesn't change the structure of the hair by lightening the hair. It doesn't change the structure of the hair by creating permanent porosity. It just deposits color in the hair, color that will eventually leave the hair. So somebody who's not sure if color is for them or color is something they want to try, then trying demi-color is a great step for them to try. Another way to brighten the hair is to enhance their natural tone or their natural highlights. We know that hair color is always dimensional. There are strands of light and dark and warm and cool in everyone's natural hair. And that's what we strive to do when we apply hair color to our guests. So what you want to do is you want to look at the tonality that you see right there before you and make a determination of what can I add to punch up or pop up their hair color to make it look more vibrant. Natural hair color, especially people with a little bit longer hair, the ends of the hair will start to look drab and start to look lifeless. Part of that lifelessness is coming because the natural pigment in the hair is breaking down. And so you can refresh just their natural hair color. Their natural level 6, apply a level 6 natural demi-color just to create a refreshing, healthy look to the hair. You can also punch up tonality a little bit or enhance their natural tonality by adding a little bit of golden warmth to faded tired blondes, or adding a little bit of red warmth to dark brunettes and browns that are looking drab. So it allows you to push the tonality and push the color around just a little bit. Now another way to color hair, and one of the great tools to color hair, is to build color into the hair. When you're creating a bright red like the red shown here, this is a great thing to do. Start out with a permanent color, create that bright permanent color as bright as you can, and then apply a demi-permanent color right over the top of it to help add more pigment and more brightness to lock in a stronger tonality. This is called a glaze, and a glaze often happens right at the shampoo bowl. After the guest's hair has been, their permanent color has been completely rinsed from the hair, you might put a little constructor on in order to add some protein and strengthen the hair fiber. And then while the hair is damp, the guest is still at the shampoo bowl, add an application of demi-color as a glaze. Keep that on the hair for 10 to 20 minutes, and then thoroughly rinse the glaze from the hair. By layering color into the hair this way, we create a more durable result, a more long-term result, and we also create incredible shine and sparkle in the hair. A glaze can also be used when the guest returns to the salon. They may have had their hair highlighted or may have had their hair colored in a previous visit, and now they come back to the salon and you've noticed their hair needs to have a little bit more pizzazz or a little bit more excitement. You could apply a glaze quickly that way as well. A glaze would be defined as any time we put a lighter tone of demi-color over the top of a deeper or brighter shade of permanent or natural color. Demi-color is also our best friend for use as a toner. Anytime you're doing highlights or bleaching, you need to add color to the hair again to brighten and to refresh, to give control to the natural blonde result. Natural blondes all by themselves often look raw or a little bit brassy or a little bit uncontrolled. So we use demi-color to add the correct tonality. Some of your best friends for demi-color in toning are the violets and the very light golds, because they add a shade of life, or they control a little bit of the extra warmth that they may find in the hair, giving you the best possible natural result. Toning the hair, adding color after a bleaching service, there's no reason why we need to have a permanent color or anything that contains a high level of alkalinity or an ammonia-based product. It's not necessary. The hair's already porous. The hair's already been lightened and brightened. All I need to do is deposit a little bit of color to correct or to adjust the final tone that I see. One of the best tools and one of the best ways to use demi-color is when coloring men's hair. Now, as you look at this gentleman's hair, if you look at George's hair, you see there's flecks of gold all throughout his darker color. There's a lot of things that you can do with men that allow them to look a little bit younger and a little bit brighter without making a full commitment to permanent color. You could add a gold or a warm brown over the top of this gray hair, and it would create a highlight where the hair is white and keep the depth where the hair is dark. I found when coloring men's hair, what happens most of the time is you see at the very most, you see that they look younger, they look tan, they look more healthy. So it helps them ease into the idea of coloring their hair. The other important thing about using demi-color on men is one of the biggest hazards in coloring men's hair, especially someone who's a natural level 5 or a natural level 4. One of the biggest hazards and challenges we face is if you get lightening going on. If George decides he wants to be a level 7 brown or a level 7 blonde, as soon as you start to lift and lighten the hair, you have the risk of brassiness and fadage. But even more so, if he wants to remain dark and wants to keep the dark tones in their hair, any permanent color system is still going to do some lifting, even if the desired result is darker. Well, guys aren't nearly as careful with their hair as many of our female clients are. And when they hit the golf course or they go out and work in the yard or they go out hiking, if their hair color is exposed to the sun especially, the artificial color starts to lift, they start to get a brassiness or an artificial warmth. What the guys want to not see is they don't want anyone to know they're doing anything to their hair color. And so the idea of zero lift becomes vital and very, very important in having successful services for men. The other idea that's important to men is absolutely no regrowth. It's okay if the artificial color leaves their hair over time, but they don't want to show a line of demarcation or show regrowth that has to be maintained. Another way of refreshing tonality and refreshing color is to add lowlights of demi-permanent color. I talked a few minutes ago about how the ends of colored hair or the ends of natural hair start to become lighter and become porous looking. We can add depth to natural hair by slicing in lowlights of demi-permanent color. Now, the great thing about that is they'll slowly fade and blend, so you never have to find them again to touch them back up or to find that regrowth and touch it up if you're putting lowlights in. They're very, very predictable, And demi-color is a little bit porosity sensitive, so it tends to go towards the lightest area of the hair. This model, if you look at the front of her hair, you can see how there's a lot of balayage type highlights in the ends of her hair, but in her bang, when we began, she had heavy highlights in the top as well, and we're able to go in and low light demi-color in order to take down highlights that are becoming a little bit too controlling and a little bit too bright. Demi-color is also a great tool for blending gray. Blending gray is a little bit different than covering gray. With low lights, we can use, with demi-color, we can use gray blending. The application of the product can be done over the entire head, or it can be done in large slices to add tonality to major portions of the hair. Gray blending happens on a blonde. When someone has naturally blonde hair or a desire to be blonde, we can use lighter shades of demi-color to add tonality to the white hair. And when you add tonality to the white hair, it is just lighter hair. It's not gray. So it decreases the appearance of age and it adds brightness and vibrance by blending the gray away. Now, technically, I could take a level 3 demi-color and it will cover up the gray 100%. But the problem is it won't stay in the hair until the next visit. So the hair will lighten every single couple of days when the hair is shampooed as time goes by. And most people who have gray hair aren't looking to see their hair change every time they shampoo. Blondes are a little bit different story. If you're blending gray on a blonde, they're okay with the hair being blended and then lightening up a little bit. So on darker hair levels, we'd use permanent color for gray. On lighter hair levels, demi-color can be used to blend the gray away as the first step of thinking about covering their gray permanently. We also use demi-color to refresh. Color balancing is what I talked about a little bit earlier. Color balancing is when you have permanent color at the new growth and then you need to refresh the color or brighten up the color at the ends. It's necessary, even if I did it with permanent color, it's necessary to use two different formulas because at the new growth I have hair that's never been colored before that's going to lift and lighten and add warmth to my formula. On the ends of the hair, it's not going to lift and lighten and add any more warmth. So typically what happens is I might mix a red with a natural at the new growth and use a straight red on the ends. The same thing happens when I'm using demi-color for color balancing. I use a permanent color formula at the new growth that may contain red and brown. On the ends, I will just cover the entire head with the red part of the formula. Now, because Brocato Color Project is completely intermixable, I can actually do this in one step. Touch up the new growth with the permanent formula. As soon as that's applied, go back through the hair with the demi-permanent formula and put it all the way through all the ends of the hair. By the time I finish with my second application, it's been about 10 minutes and I process the whole head for another 20 or 25 minutes and then it can all come off together. It doesn't matter if it moves or runs between place and place. If it overlaps a little bit, it's not a challenge because they're designed to work together as best friends. We also use demi-color as a tool for color correction. Anytime you would like to make someone's hair more than 2 levels darker than what you see, if they've been bleached or highlighted, if they've had pigment removed from the hair and you want to go darker, it's necessary to repigment the hair or put the warmth back in the hair before you add the target color. This chart gives you an idea of what's necessary to go darker on bleached hair or hair that's been colored lighter, hair that's been extremely highlighted. So, for example, let's look if someone wants to be a level 6 dark blonde, but as they come to you, they're a level 9 heavily highlighted blonde, then I need to replace red pigment in the hair. The way I'm going to replace red pigment is by using 743 or 7 copper gold demi-color mixed with equal parts of water. I'll apply the 743 7 copper gold through the entire head, blot it with a paper towel, wipe as much of it out of the hair as I can, and then I'll turn around and apply my level 6 target color, my finished formula, say for example a level 6 natural. I'll apply level 6 natural over the entire head, and when it's completely processed and removed from the hair will look as if it had no highlights or had never been blonde before. If I apply the level 6 without applying a repigmenting solution, it would go ashy or drab or greenish on the highlighted portions, and it would look natural on the part of the hair that was naturally pigmented. By replacing the red in the hair in this case, or at a level 8, I'd replace gold. Level 7, I'd replace copper gold. By replacing the warmth, it allows me to get a natural result, going darker. This is also a fantastic thing to keep in mind when you're working with bleach weaves or bleach highlights, and your goal is to put darker pigment or darker slices back into the hair. If you're going to put low lights in the hair and there's bleach pieces in your foil, you also need to repigment those. Using this methodology of putting the final color right over the top of the repigmentation formula, it will allow you to repigmentize the hair right inside of the foil and guarantee that the color is more durable and long lasting and gives you the exact result that you're looking for. So Demi-color is a great tool for starting color correction. This photo shows our Demi-color lookbook. It includes the 27 base shades of Demi-color as well as the 4 intensifiers. And we're going to talk about intensifiers in just a moment. In addition to these 27 base shades, we also have 5 sheer shades. The 5 sheers are designed to be toners. They're super light and super sheer. They're perfect for blonde hair, for glosses over the top of previously colored hair. Typically, they have 50% less intensity than the regular Demi-color shades. You can mix them with any Demi shade, but remember, if you mix the sheers, your result will be a little bit lighter. So we've indicated every one of the sheers by putting a letter S in front. S9B, S9GB, S10G, S10N, and S10GC are the 5 different shades of Demi-color. Also in the Demi family are the intensifiers. The intensifiers are designed to be mixed with any Demi color to enhance or subdue a tonality. Now, for example, we would use it to subdue the tonality if the hair was very, very bright and very, very red, and I was trying to decrease the amount of red, then I might mix blue intensifier and gold intensifier into my formula to make it more ash or to make it more cool. On the other hand, and most of the time, we use intensifiers to bump up the tonality and make it even brighter. You can use intensifiers straight out of the bottle. So if you want the reddest red possible, mix red intensifier with activator, and it will give you the brightest red you can possibly create. To have a pure tone that matches these swatches, it would be necessary to pre-lighten the hair or use them on blonde hair, but they can be very, very durable. These are oxidative, intense shades that are designed to be mixed with Demi-color. They're not designed to be used with permanent color. And they are designed, as I said, to be mixed with activator and to be used alone on blonde or pre-lightened hair. A couple of them, there are ways to use them on hair that's already got pigment. For example, someone with extremely dark hair, Polynesian hair or Asian hair, might really enjoy having straight blue intensifier on top of their dark hair and having it deep blue black. The other one is anybody with browns, any kind of brown hair. You could use copper intensifier to make their hair a warm brunette, or you could use red intensifier to give them shades of red within their brown hair. And then, of course, gold intensifier would show up on anybody with hair that's a level 7 or lighter, maybe a level 8. You'd start to see bright gold results and really see how bright and pigmented they can be. But remember, with the exception of hair that's extremely porous, these are going to fade away from the hair. If the hair has been chemically processed previously and it's porous, these are going to, because they're strong pigments, they will not fade as easily from the hair as a traditional Demi formula would. Another way of using our Demi color system is to use it as part of the color refreshing system. Brocato color refreshers are designed to extend the life of hair color and give you more vibrance and more options. They're customizable and are created right in the salon dispensary. They're designed to match the Brocato color results because they're based on Demi color. We have a swatch book that goes with it. They're deposit-only shades. They reconstruct the hair and they don't create any staining. It's a product that's created for the guests to use at home. So when they come to the salon, we give them a Demi color service and then we send them home with a color refresher that will help them maintain their color. To create a color refresher, you mix 1 ounce of Color Project Demi color with 4 ounces of Constructor Deep Repair Treatment. As you can see on the left-hand side, there's a bottle that's designed to be mixed in, and those are available from your distributor. And on the second bottle over, where my arrow is, there's a line for 4 ounces of constructor, and then a line for 1 ounce of demi-color. Now, you could put less demi-color and add crystal clear or perfectly clear to dilute it, or even add more constructor if you feel like the demi-color is brighter than the result that you're looking for. The first step when the guest takes home a color refresher is to cleanse their hair with the appropriate Brocato shampoo. This is not a shampoo, and it's also not designed to be a conditioner. It is a refresher. So if their hair is extremely soiled, they may want to shampoo their hair with shampoo first, probably Vibracolor if they're a color client. Then apply the Brocato color refresher, leave that in the hair for 3 to 5 minutes, let it sit, and then rinse it thoroughly from the hair. If the hair needs to be conditioned or have an additional treatment at this time, then I would use a typical Brocato conditioner to detangle. They could use Cloud9 Mousse, they could use a spray-in like detangle spray, or they could use Vibracolor conditioner or Vibracolor treatment to add more conditioning benefits. As I said, color refresher is not a conditioner and it is not a shampoo. It's a color refreshing step that can be added to the guest, to the things the guest's doing at home to maintain their color. Typical salon costs for a color refresher ranges from $373 to $648. $373 is the cost if you're using liters of constructor. We also want to remind you that constructor liters and color refresher bottles are both available on your BBN order form. So if you receive BBN points, Beautiful Business Network points for your purchases, you can purchase constructor and color refresher bottles, and that would decrease your cost even further. The suggested retail price for a color refresher bottle is a 5-ounce bottle for $16.95. Some other ways of using color refreshers to help build your business in the salon that are really great is you can use color refresher as a giveaway for a guest who's receiving their first color service, or in preparation for the spring, maybe in May or June, do a promotion that gives each client who gets their spring highlights in May a free color refresher for them to use. Now, the thing that we've discovered is when you give the color refresher to the guest one time, they often come back and purchase color refresher following up. Like, can I buy it? Is it possible for me to buy it? Some of them have that question. So make it clear. I can give it to you today, or you can come back and purchase it next time. Also note the color refresher bottle's only 5 ounces. We need them to run out of color refresher before their next color service. Color refresher won't cover their gray. It won't prevent them from getting their hair colored again. But I also don't want somebody to have a bottle of, this bottle on the picture is 6RR, a level 6 super red. I don't want them to have a bottle of 6RR color refresher sitting in their shower, and then I put a bunch of blonde highlights in their hair, and they go home and turn their highlights pink because they grabbed the color refresher. So we want them to run out every time they come to the salon. When formulating color refresher, we use the color chart, and we also make a formula of color refresher that's the lightest, that reflects the lightest color on their hair. Color refresher is an add-on retail opportunity. It doesn't compete with the current home regimen they're using. They'd be using Vibracolor system at home. This is something they'd add into that system. This guide gives you kind of an understanding of all of the tonality based within the Demi-color system. You can use this information along with the swatch book to determine which type of color you ought to be creating for the color refresher. Notice this works just like a color wheel with the browns at the top of the chart, then golds, then beige golds, copper browns, copper violets, and then the reds start, and they start from a red brown to a warm red to a true red, back to a red brown, but the second red brown is starting to get a little bit cooler than the first one. And then it goes into violets and into ashes. So be aware that you're creating the color refresher for the lightest hair on the head. If they're deep brown but they have blonde highlights, then I'm going to create a color refresher that's got either a gold in it as a base, or a natural beige, or maybe an ash if I need to control some of that tonality. But I wouldn't go in a color refresher that was a copper violet on top of my light blonde highlights, unless I really wanted them to be screaming bright copper. So remember to select the color refresher for the lightest hair on the head that you're working to maintain and to highlight. This is a photo of a color refresher bar that we took in a salon. they've got this set up right in their retail space, and they use it as a prescriptive place. There's a swatch book, empty refresher bottles, a couple of liters of constructor, and some color bottles that suggest to the client that they can get a custom color refresher made for them. The idea is that we create it for the guest right when the guest needs those products. The poster that you see here is available on our Brocato website, brocatotoday.com. If you've got a password to get in, you can go to Salon Signage and you can download this poster and be able to print it at your printer at home or take it to a local print shop if you want a larger version. So the color refresher bar this is the poster copy, allows the client to stay fresh, to blend in their color, and to stay brilliant. And it indicates that we can make a color refresher for them right there and send them home with it. One of the things I like the most about the color refresher system is that you can customize and custom create color for them rather than have a color refresher that's pre-mixed and pre-blended, and they have to decide, do they want to be copper red or cool red? And you can create a color refresher that's the perfect complement for what they have going on in their hair and for the color that you've created. Here's another poster. This is a large poster that's 28 inches high and 22 inches wide. That is also available in the website. Our focus in 2013 for our webinars is education, information, and events to help you stay up to date with Brocato and make sure that you've got all the information you need to succeed. The first event that we're really excited about is our Brocato 2013 Academies. The first Academy is taking place in New York City at Sam Brocato Salon on April 28th and 29th. I just checked this morning. I understand there's still some places left, a couple. So if you're interested in coming to the Academy in April, make sure that you get a hold of us. You contact Kristen Hiller in our office in Minneapolis, or check with your distributor and they'll have information on how you can get involved in the Academy. We have a total of 5 academies this year. The dates have all been set. The tickets are $475 per person. That's actually less than they were last year. Our goal is to make the Academy as accessible as possible. Or you can save your beautiful business network points and you can pay 14,250 points for the Academy. So if you're looking for more information about the Academy, check on Facebook, check on our website, and of course you can always contact us at our 800 number. The 800 number is printed on the back of every single bottle of Brocato product. So feel free to check those out and give us a call. We'd love to have you attending the Academy. The Academy, Sam, also, we have events scheduled around the country. We completed 2 successful events in Seattle, Washington, and in Spokane, Washington in January. Upcoming Sam Unplugged events feature a focus on our new Super Silk product, Brocato Color Project Demi, and Brocato Color Project Permanent. The next Sam Unplugged event is in Indianapolis on February 17th, Joliet, Illinois on February 18th, and then Springfield, Illinois on February 25th. So if you are close to those locations, even if you are not located in those states, feel free to give us a call on our 800 number and Kristen will help you make arrangements. Ask for Kristen Hiller. She'll help you make arrangements for who to contact so that you could be involved in those events if they're of interest. We also, at the distributor level, are offering Brocato Super Silk certification classes. We have Super Silk online certification classes that will be available shortly. My hope is by the end of this week. We're getting so close. Watch our Facebook page and you can certify online to be a Super Silk texturist and receive a certificate for Super Silk. They also, of course, are taught locally at your distributorship. The Beautiful Business Network is a way to help you as a successful and professional stylist to connect and give you opportunities to grow with Brocato, to connect with other salons, to learn and to enrich yourself professionally. Our goal is to help to reward you for your loyalty to Brocato and help you to grow your business successfully. Within the Brocato BBN program, we have an awards segment. The awards segment is based on level of purchases. If you purchase $500 in Brocato products per quarter, then you're a bronze salon. A silver salon purchases $2,000 per quarter, a gold salon $4,000 or more, and a platinum salon $8,000 or more. At each of those levels, you redeem points or you receive points based upon your purchases. As an example, at a gold level, you get 1 point for every dollar spent on retail products, 2 points for every dollar spent on color or smoothing products, If you carry both color and smoothing, smoothing also now includes our new Super Silk products, then you get 3 points for every dollar. So if I get 1 point for every retail dollar plus 3 points for every color dollar and Super Silk dollar, you can see how the points start to escalate and the points start to expand. The points can be used to purchase back bar. They can be used for education. What you can save points to attend the academy in New York. One of the examples we gave on using the points was using the points to buy color refresher bottles and to buy liters of constructors so that you decrease the cost of color refresher, and then you can use it as a giveaway or a business builder within your area. Here's some example of things that you can purchase with points and the point range. Back bar leaders for 280 to 425 points, styling products 360 to 590, sample sizes 55 to 65 points, salon tools from 60 points to 2,730 points, and then education from 25,000 points and up. The points help you reduce the cost of doing business in your salon. They're designed to help you reward performance for your purchases and encourage retail sales to help you elevate your salon. Take those points, use them for education, use them for sampling, use them to broaden the base of excitement going on in the salon. It's a great way to receive rewards for the hard work that you do in the salon. We have a lot of resources available for you that are online as part of the Beautiful Business Network. The first one, of course, is our Brocato Today website. If you look at the bottom of this slide, it says username, login. If you haven't already, be sure to create an account. Right below that space, it says sign up. If you create an account, what happens is you describe your situation. I'm a salon owner. Here's where I work. Here's who my distributor is. Our webmaster will go back and check and follow up on the information. Very shortly, you'll be receive an email authorizing you, and your account will be opened up so that you can access some of the support tools and the materials that we have available to you. This is a view of some of the things available to you once you receive a password and can log into Brocato Today. All of these things can be clicked on and downloaded. These are all documents that you can have access to. There's a complete video gallery of videos that you can watch. And we're working right now to set up a way that you can download and access any of our webinars by signing into Brocato Today, and that'll happen in the next few months. So we'll make sure that you know about that. Another way to stay in touch with us is through our Facebook page. On the Facebook page, you have the opportunity of commenting. You have the opportunity of telling about your favorite products. Often we post business tips, and I'm sure some of you receive those. We point you towards videos that you could be watching, and we encourage your involvement. Also here, there's a tab right here that says Brocato News. This is where you can sign up and receive our newsletter. If you're not receiving our newsletter already, my guess is everybody on the call gets the newsletter, because that's how we usually invite people to attend our webinars, is through the newsletter mailing list. So it's great to have you signed up for the newsletter. And Facebook is another way of staying in touch with us and staying connected. We have a second Facebook page right now called the Brocato Super Silk Facebook page. When we launched Super Silk in October, we created its own page because we wanted to have a place to archive the videos and the photos and all the information that we have received and we've collected for Super Silk. This is a great place to find out more information about this incredible service. It's really a game changer. It's changing the way services are done in salons, and it's changing the way people are involved with texture within their salon. So make sure that you've liked us both on the Brocato page and on Brocato Super Silk. And the last thing is our next webinar. Our next BBN webinar will be on March 8th at 1 p.m. Remember, our BBN webinars are now on the second Monday of every month, and they're only at one time. Remember, if you're not available to attend, we still want you to sign up so that we can send you the link and that you get all the information. And we'll try to remind you of that on the webinar notification. Even if you can't make it, please make sure that you register. And also a reminder, this afternoon in just a couple of hours, we'll also have a second webinar today, and it'll be on Brocato Color Project. We're going to walk through the entire Brocato permanent, demi-permanent, and lightning systems and give you product knowledge and information on those tools and how they work. And that's focused on being a salon class. It's going to be about an hour and a half long, and the format will be as if we were in your salon doing a product information class on Brocato Color Project. So if you've got staff members or stylists or friends, make sure that you forward them the invitation. Today, at about 40 minutes ago, right as we started our webinar, you should have received another email reminding you to register for the Color Project webinar coming this afternoon. So I want to thank you for your time. I appreciate the time that you spent with us, that you were able to take away from your families and your salons to just do a little bit of review of color refreshing and demi-color with us and confirm what you're doing in January, or excuse me, in February this month. So it's been exciting to spend the time with you. Michelle or Sam, Marty, any comments or follow-up?
I just want to say thank you guys for hanging in there. Finishing right at, it's been 40 minutes, a lot of information in 40 minutes. Thank you, Gary. Very, very, very nice job. And I'm looking forward to our next one.
And I'll just add to that, Michelle, that great work, Gary. Every single time I go through this, I listen, I learn a little something new and different. So it's always exciting. I also want to point out that the academies this year in New York City are taking on almost a whole new level of excitement and diversity. The way the teaching tools that we're actually using and what we're showing, the way the color on Monday blends with the cutting on Sunday has been taken to a new height. So I hope some of you will make it to New York City this year. Thank you,
We look
Gary.
forward to seeing you. You bet. Thanks, everybody.